his return whether he had been to heaven and seen God. And he said yes.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, and sentient artificial intelligence. Join us on this journey to find the others. Because no matter where we find ourselves in this multiverse, the act of existing is all too familiar.
Guys? Is anybody out there? Hello?
The mushroom has a tremendous problem-solving ability.
Herbs are good. Herbs are good for everything.
As we look across this great expanse and stare at the stars, we can't help but be reminded these lights, though we're seeing them all at the same time, happened across a multi-billion-year delta. Some of those fires burned millions of years ago, some billions, but all of them happened so we could experience them in this one singular moment.
They called us scouts. They called us seekers. They called us Hoosier. But we were destined to question everything.
I don't know about you, but as for me, the question has already been answered. Should we be here? Yes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hoosier Sophisticate here on WGNU 920 AM. Put a .com behind it. You can listen to us anywhere in the world, streaming live on Facebook at Hoosier Sophisticate. You can join the Sophisticated Hoosiers page to keep up with all the fun stuff that's going on in our community, and also subscribe to us on mycelial media on YouTube. What a week, Steve-O.
Man, we're growing like wildflowers. Wildflowers. We're growing like wildflowers. I kind of like that too. The mycelial media YouTube page really been picking up some steam.
Yes, sir.
I mean, even though YouTube now, I got a gripe against YouTube. Real quick gripe. I used to be able to get on there because we're going to touch on the Jeffrey Epstein saga that's going on. Just a tragic story of just so many layers.
I didn't even know how much it affected me until I just started talking about it.
Oh, buddy, you got fired up on your Facebook live this morning. We got noises coming from all over the place. But YouTube is not a place where I can go there and get my, hey, this guy put all the clues together in his house on his spare time and figured out how all these people are connected, and now is just taking you on a journey of screenshots and just a voiceover of this madman who's in his basement just putting all the pieces together. Those videos aren't on YouTube anymore. You got to search for them. When you used to search anything conspiracy, those were the first videos popping up. Maybe you had an Alex Jones, maybe you had something else. Now, even if I try to just search WikiLeaks, 4chan, Pizzagate, like all of them, I'll put all the keywords. It's like CNBC News, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. That's all YouTube will give me on this nonsense now. And I'm appalled with the way the media is ran, but I'm also you almost respect the game they got going right now.
It's unbelievable.
The game they got. And I heard from this guy, I think it was on Duncan Trussell, was saying, you just got to learn how to read the news. Find a few good news sources, but then they'll throw a real story, and it's not going to be the headline, but there's still good reporters and journalists reporting on this stuff. They just won't get you got to find these little clues that are hidden. Cause I mean, with the WikiLeaks thing, what blew me away was when CNN and New York Times with all of the Clintons. They're like, hey, here's all of our information and journalists, and we're going to ask you these questions beforehand. And here's the, all that just collusion with our media. And it's like, get GTFOH, man.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about respecting the game, man. One of my favorite lines and one of my favorite movies, Pool Hall Junkies, just filled with little one-liners throughout the whole thing. And
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh, it's
pretty
phenomenal.
good.
Paul Newman?
No, this was made in the early 2000s.
Assume Paul Newman.
It's got Chaz Palminteri's in it though, and
Chaz?
he plays.
It's got some Chris Walken in it.
Yeah, Christopher Walken's tremendous in it.
Then Chaz the banger, bro.
I love the way it ends too.
But he tells him in the beginning, he says, "Man, beating a man out of his money is easy. Anybody can do that. But beating a man out of his money and making him like it, that's an art. Because that's the art of a true hustler, and that's what I feel like the media is always doing. Everybody knows their beat. 330 million people in America think that this whole Epstein story is absolute garbage. We all know that you're lying. And what's so great, and this is what started the talk this morning for me, was like just the nature of conspiracy theories as they are, right? Even the fact that his suicide it looks to be very conspiratorial. Now it's like, no, he's not even dead. Now he's alive on a different island. There will always be somebody who's just willing to take it. Like, we can actually settle for the fact that he is dead. We don't have to. I think we should stay open to.
They took his body out to sea.
Oh, and they just dumped him without taking any pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. Seems to be our MO. But everybody pretty much agrees that the story that they're telling us is nonsense. But they're like, that's okay. Moving along, guys. Okay, we get it. You don't believe us. Next, can we talk about the next thing?
It's crazy.
This is a big deal.
It's crazy because it is deep, it's connected, and it's weird when you start studying the real history, the behind the scenes creators. And this also goes into our streaming picks of the week a little bit later. I watched a show on Netflix that I think is very important for everyone to watch. Oh my God, and I didn't know how to feel at the end of it, because a lot of times the I don't want to say ruling elite, all these words get thrown out so much, it's BS. But that if we try to control aspects of our little group on Facebook, not control, but at least sway in the right direction.
Sure.
We're not controlling you. I'm making you believe in kind of what I need you to believe to get along with the status quo, man.
Fair enough.
The psychology behind all of this and how this ties in with all of the power players and a lot of these power players that you didn't know existed. I mean, we're going to break it down because me and you saw something. Our boy Ben Swan.
Yes.
Our boy Ben Swan.
I just think that it's hilarious that 2 years ago, we're sitting on another radio station late at night. We're starting to talk about cannabis regularly on a sports talk show. We've always found a way to talk about just some things that were just really irritating us and some things that maybe we could do to change. And that was kind of a foundation for what we wanted to be on this show. We're like, okay, that's where we found most of our passion was like, okay, local things that we can do to help out the community, and let's shine a light on some stuff that just ain't adding up. Let's not make any allegations, but let's just hold a spotlight on some things that just aren't adding up. And we had even brought up, like, Ben Swan, this reporter on ABC in Atlanta, Georgia, was kind of just calling this stuff out.
Truth in Media?
Truth in Media, something like that. And what's amazing to me is you brought it up with YouTube. We've seen a lot of contributors are saying, hey, the whole entire platform's changed. If they decide at any point that what you're spewing does not fit their guidelines, they'll demonetize a video. There's people who have started to build entire careers off of this. So they're trying to migrate people to something that's more centrally owned, like the blockchain, like these different social media platforms on the blockchain. It's going to eventually happen, but it's one of those things that I think is generational. You're going to have a very hard time moving people our age, even maybe even a little bit younger than us, moving us entirely off of the internet as we know it into a decentralized internet, making a place. It's Facebook's easy. They made it to where for the longest time they didn't charge you to do anything. You were just there to build your net, cast as big of a net as they possibly could. And by the time they made it a place that everybody logged into 14, 15, 38 times a day just to see what the latest post was, it now has become an extension of us and an extension of just constantly having to know what our neighbors, what our friends, what everybody's up to. It's an escape from what's right in front of us. And once they got us kind of addicted to that mindset where we had to constantly be checking in with this other personality we have, this virtual personality that we have, then they could start monetizing it. Then they could start controlling the speech on it. And then they could fall back on well, we're a private company. Yeah. We can do it. And you know what? They're right. But understand that you're just a pawn in a very complex game of chess that only a few people are playing. I mean, you brought it up with your Netflix pick a few weeks ago with the great hack. It all ties into that. We are humans. Our data is now the most expensive, the most valuable commodity, the most valuable traded commodity on the planet is your data. And most of you have no idea what they have on you and why they know that you're interested in having some coffee flavored candy. Like they know everything.
They're predicting what you're going to do next as well. They're not saying, oh, hey, we're listening in on you. Nope. And we got all that. They're like, no, this is
based on an algorithm.
Yes. And people are so similar in so many ways that they can get us down to just there's 4 or 5 personality types. And we know that most people are going to fall in line. That's why as we kind of turn on, I think it's important to just keep questioning everything, because a lot of people I heard with the Epstein are like, show me the video. There's got to be video of him. We've seen the deep fakes. They could come out with a video of Hillary Clinton killing that guy and be the scene from, the Quentin Tarantino movie or something. It would look perfect.
The deep fakes are insane.
So that we can't even start believing that. Do we get to a point where there's a way to start throwing off the algorithms to where we start posting weird stuff? And like, there's ways to upload all of this information. Like, oh, I get this app that uploads all this random information that it has nothing to do with me. So that way, all these data points
may have just come up with a great idea.
Because that way, I was trying to think about it. Because
it's like a seed bomb, man.
Yes, it's just like, oh, here's what he's into. Just joking. Like, here's what he into.
Yeah, you're just throwing wildflowers out there.
Exactly. So that way, the algorithm's like, I can't get a read on anybody. Everybody is mass chaos out there with data. Because right now, it's so easy. Like you said, with Facebook, it's so easy, man. Like everything is there.
Yeah,
it'd be hard. It's a little the guy did
nostalgic.
The TED Talk.
You can be friends with people that you were friends with when you were a kid.
The TED Talk, they said they could have made Facebook without the likes and the loves and all that stuff, but they knew that's how you get the rat back to the feeder. You hit that little like button and you get that little rush of serotonin. I'm guilty of it as anybody. That's how I live, baby. Absolutely. I feed off of it. But right now I'm struggling with there is no good and evil. And after watching The Family is it'll be my streaming pick to blow that out of the water. But they talk about Jesus and Christianity. And after a recent, it happened a long time ago, a DMT experience that I had, it made me kind of rethink religion as a whole. And this movie had me thinking that this story of how brilliant would it be that if the Bible and all these religious texts were actually written by this evil entity we call the devil, or this evilness that's like, you want to see people fight forever? Give them a figure that is their God to follow. And they think they're always chasing righteousness. So they're always stepping on each other to get to righteousness. But meanwhile, they're doing every despicable thing we've ever wanted and needed them to do so we could be able to control them so that they stay weak-minded, so they don't get these logical thoughts in their head of saying, why are we doing this to one another? Oh, those guys across that imaginary borderline are bad guys and they're doing things to us. Oh, and then they're coming over here and doing things to us. I'm scared of them. I hate them. Kill them. I'll do anything to kill them.
Yep.
Okay. Because they're trying to get my kids, man. They're trying to get my kids.
Right.
There's a bunch of bad things trying to get my kids, not these wealthy elite. That's not happening. You know what I mean? The terrorists are coming to get my babies. The guns are going to get my children. It's a fascinating look at how things are run and how people can actually, you talk about global domination, and it's like global domination. What are you, pinky in the brain, idiot? Like people are trying to run the globe. Well, then you start hearing, Alexander, there were people who tried to do this. Napoleon, I think.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah, people wanting to take over everything. Now it's easier than ever.
Well, and I think there was probably an agreement between, call it a dozen people, and really only half of them had the juice, but like a dozen people that were like, hey, any one of us could really do this thing. So why don't we just all do it? We'll just chop up the pot.
Yeah.
Just one chop up. We're just doing this together.
Is there no egomaniac at the center?
I think there always is. I think there's probably a whole different game of tennis playing up there. It's just a volley back and forth of who's got who. And that's why, this Epstein thing is, I think that's why it's most maddening, right? When it started to come up, we're finding out these horrible things. This is on the heels of finding out that people that make up our celebrity, like we were talking about it today. So somebody posted something on another fan page about like which of your heroes ended up breaking your heart later on in your life, and I was like, well, I don't think this is a hero per se. I don't necessarily have any hero in Hollywood.
Barry Bonds.
But one of the ones that really messed me up was like when the whole thing came out with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Because it was like this
was on the Lolita Express, I believe.
Well, that's the whole thing. And then he's like on top of being caught and then like trying to apologize, because you got to figure Kevin Spacey's the ultimate statesman. He's a great impersonator. He's a singer. He's like one of the most talented dudes. I really felt like he was like a top 3, top 4 actor in Hollywood.
Oh, I loved him.
One of the best.
Kaiser Sose was one of
the best roles you'll ever. I mean,
all time.
He's unbelievable in everything he does. And if you've ever seen him on late night doing impersonations, or he played Bobby Darin and he sang,
no doubt,
he's an unbelievably talented cat.
Wasn't he the murderer in 7?
Yes, he was.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. Big time.
That's
spoiler alert. That was a big spoiler.
That's range,
big
man.
spoiler.
Totally,
That's
man.
range.
Totally, he's amazing.
But yeah, and when that all came out, rather than him, because I thought, well, here comes a real polished, like he's going to have a firm that's going to come out real polished.
Oh yeah.
And then he didn't double down, but then he
like,
equated like his pederasty to homosexuality, or his
like,
homosexuality to pederasty, and I was like, whoa, like this is on the heels of Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, who's made every great movie for the last 15 years. Is and it starts the whole Me Too movement. And damn it, like it there's juice to that. Like you could be frustrated with a lot of the things that hashtag was attached to, but like the underlying real issue here is like there are monsters at the top doing horrid things to good people. And then when it turns from adults to children, and this goes back to what we were talking about on Change, we would talk about Pizzagate and people would laugh. Like, this is, how could you possibly think that something so complex, that all of our world leaders are involved in this child sex trafficking ring, and Ben Swan was on it.
Mm-hmm.
He was on it, buddy.
Man,
and
he
was
broke
bringing
it down like a journalist should.
He did. And then, so, okay, everybody's like, it's how it goes with all of these conspiracy theories that kind of halfway check out. But this ain't halfway checking out. No, now we have a guy who has ties to a sitting president, a former sitting president, the attorney general, everybody who's anybody in Washington, D.C., in New York, in any, power center in the world. This guy has ties. And you find out that the entire time he's a registered sex offender. He was arrested for soliciting prostitution from underage girls and completely unapologetic about it. His very notoriety, he said, was what made so many people willing to confide in him. Everyone he suggested has secrets, and he added, compared with his own, they seemed innocuous. People confided in him without feeling awkward or embarrassed. This guy was proud of being a sleazebag, the worst kind of sleazebag, because it helped him coax information out of powerful people and then ultimately be able to blackmail them and leverage power. He's got a how many $1 million house? 70.
You said the key word, baby. I'll ring this bell for blackmail, because I think that's the biggest player in all of this. And I didn't think about it at first. But go on. You were talking about how many million?
It was $75 million, $77 million mansion. He bought it for how much? $1. He was given to him.
Yes. And it had a high
Price is Right bid.
It had a
$1
high-tech bathroom in it with all cameras.
$1, right?
And listen, it goes much deeper.
Get a $100 bill for that.
Even than that, as far as the plane was named the Lolita Express, with like no shame about it.
Not at all.
It was a movie about
Not at all.
What an underage girl, a guy's infatuation with an underage girl, and blackmail. That's where I was watching, and there's a reporter for the Mint Press News. I think her name is Leslie Webb. I'll look that up. But she put together this 3-part piece on mintpressnews.com, and draws a line from the 1920s and 30s, from the prohibition of alcohol, and all of these power players that made their money and all these ties in the mafia, and that there were all these fixers, there were all these people that came together, politicians, all of these power players where they were getting money, some on the up and up, some on the, on the very low. And they built this network of, they would have these parties where they would get people in these situations to where they could blackmail them. And then if you have this politician in your back, like, hey, I got a picture of you with that little guy from the other night, just so you know. Oh my God. Okay. I mean, they tie it into J. Edgar Hoover. They tie it into
that was
Senator
his whole
McCarthy.
thing, right?
Yeah, dressing like a woman, calling him Mary.
Yeah.
And so it ties into Epstein being possibly a Mossad agent.
Yes.
Because his handler is what is her, Maxwell? Is that their last name? Because there was a mogul in England. And I'll look up, Scott, if you can look up his name. You got anything to look that up on? It was his handler. Like, it was kind of like Jeffrey Epstein's
a fixer.
No, it was his madam per se.
Okay.
And she worked, her father was accused of being in the Mossad. He was a British media tycoon.
Okay.
And so all these reports came out. He committed suicide, stripped naked on his boat, and then jumped to his death in the water and wound up really far away. They found his body somewhere else, and it was ruled a suicide on the spot as what had happened with him.
Which is exactly what's happened with Epstein.
So his daughter was Epstein's, madam or whatever. So they're thinking that Epstein could have been working with intelligence agencies, because intelligence agencies since the 20s and 30s, when they were the ISS or whatever. OSS. They had been doing that with little honeypots, guys and girls, getting world leaders into situations where they said, oh, you're doing we got you on footage, doing, audio, radio, whatever footage of you. And then evolving over time with technology saying, oh, now we can blackmail the hell out of you. And then it's like, half of them are in it. They're like, blackmail me all you want. I don't care. I live this lifestyle now. Because we talked about the Ben Swan thing. And if you haven't checked out Ben Swan, please do. But I was linking all of it with like the Podesta and the WikiLeaks emails and the spirit cooking and all this weird stuff that is kind of out there, that they're like, yeah, it's just kind of weird. And it also kind of depicts children in paintings that are being, mutilated. And then they would have like kids at some of these parties, and they're ordering $25,000 in walnuts. And they figure out that on the dark web, that these pedophile rings, they use all these code words like pizza, like walnuts, to call kids. So and it's these high-priced transactions, because I think a lot of Bitcoin are
what would they say, like $20,000 in walnuts?
And they would say these were
you're worth a 3.5 extra large 2-topping pizza.
Exactly, and they'd be like, oh, the pepperonis were real weak on this batch. We're gonna need stronger pepperonis, like just weird sayings with all these things, and it was in high. Okay, does anyone know what spirit cooking is? With that, it's the Marlena Abramovich, I believe. I'm giving you a lot of things to look up now, guys. But the spirit cooking, and if you've seen some of those videos, she paints in like blood and says, mix semen, mix urine, mix blood, let's sit for a day and then drink. It's all these weird recipes, but it also, like when I was talking about the thing with my Netflix pick,
Marina Abramovich.
Yes, Marina Abramovich.
Yeah.
It's all crazy. And she says she's a performance artist, which she is. But there's also like, there's a goat. There's one with her holding the goat head. Yes, thank you.
I've seen a really fascinating documentary
with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand. Eat the pain. These are like her recipes for spirit cooking. So it's all these occult weird things. And they were on a first name basis with the Podestas, who were linked to Clintons, who were linked to Epstein, who are all part of this club. This club of people
people playing a different game than the rest of us.
And we saw that picture on our site. I don't know what senator it was who had the kids from The Shining as his children. Remember that picture that showed up?
Yes.
What kind of these kids are bringing? If they're not being molested and taken from countries in Central America and Africa, then they're being trained and groomed in these wealthy houses in Connecticut or wherever this weird crap happens, and being groomed to be like, oh no, we paint with blood and stuff. It's just kind of cool. And the kids are
Spirit
like, yeah.
cooking is worship of Baphomet. It's what people think is Satanism, but is actually much worse. Also linked to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
No,
Check
you
this
don't
out.
say.
According to nymag.com, if you're wondering why the Drudge Report thinks Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta practices, black magic, the short answer is world-renowned performance artist Marina Abramovich.
Abramovich, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Abramovich.
Once invited him to dinner. As for the long answer, late Thursday night, I'm not sure, they didn't give a date. Someone discovered this dispatch from the latest
I think it was in
WikiLeaks
2013.
dump of Podesta's hacked emails. Dear Tony, I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. That's nice. Do you think you will be able to let me know if your brother is joining? All my love, Marina.
Look up some of the
I watched
art that the
she had a-
Podestas had in their house.
Well, she's actually got a couple of really interesting, you know me and my art documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's got a couple of interesting like performance art documentaries. She had one where she just sat in a room silent and everybody would sit across from her for, you know, however long it took, and they would just gaze into each other's eyes without talking. And now that I'm knowing this, she was just sipping their souls as it was happening. But then this guy sits in the chair across from her, and they were like long separated lovers. They were together for 12 years, and for whatever reason, their paths just went a different way. You can tell they were each other's person. You know what I mean? It's one of the most powerful unspoken things you'll ever
she's
watch.
into that stuff,
And-
which I
and now
kinda
that
am
I'm
too,
finding
but
out,
it's
like,
weird.
oh,
She uses
dude,
it for
she- yeah.
evil. She uses all that. Like, I love to look into Jenny's eyes for real. We'll eyes gaze every once in a while. And she's like,
You
it's
should.
making me
You
uncomfortable.
should
Like, and I'm
stare
like,
into
I
the
know
soul
it's
of your-
it's
of
good.
your- of your loved ones.
But then like they use it and they're like, oh, we're also gonna you know, worship Baphomet and paint in blood later. And I'm like, oh man, can't we just look at each
Yeah, let's
other?
just like I like your eyes. Man.
Look at this. Look at this painting that's in Podesta's.
that is disgusting.
It's a bunch of little kids, what appears to be girls, in nightshirts and little underwear, kneeling in a white tile saw-like bathroom with grates on the floor with
Yeah,
their
like the
hands
movie
behind their
Saw.
back. Like the movie Saw. Here's another one of two kids like in their underwear, two little Asian kids with like socks. These are in the Podesta. This is Podesta's weird taste in art. Like, I mean, you can look this stuff up. It's
Ugh.
troubling. It's because you
That just
know
messed me up.
I went down the Pizzagate rabbit hole, and then Ben Swan he disappeared.
Went off, started writing ciphers for his fans to solve, letting them know he came back. And then as crypto saw a resurgence, I believe maybe through Ripple or something like that, he, you know, he started speaking. It wasn't Ripple. It was one of the social media, probably cryptos. But he came back kind of with his own voice, but he was not himself.
Nope.
He was just a robot wearing a silicone skin suit. Just not even the same guy. Didn't even have anything behind his eyes. It was really crazy. Can I read you a little something from Epstein here?
Please do.
Let's see. Epstein meanders into a discussion of other prominent names in technology circles. He said people in Silicon Valley had a reputation for being geeky workaholics, but that was far from the truth. They were hedonistic and regular users of recreational drugs. He said he'd witnessed prominent tech figures taking drugs and arranging for sex. Mr. Epstein stressed that he never drank or used drugs of any kind. Well, thanks.
You don't need them.
I guess that's why I find myself hanging out with the partiers, because the sober ones are
Eating blood.
attacking our children. Attacking our children. And what's crazy, and we talk about this a little bit, you know, you guys everybody can scoff at conspiracy theorists, and that's fine. And it's, you know, YouTube used to be a place where you could at least hear a different side of the story. And yes, some people definitely use that to doctor things and make things and to push narratives. However, by shutting it all down, you have effectively tunneled the scope, right? You have just narrowed the scope onto fewer places for people to get their information, right? And it's only scaring people away from the information, you know.
What can we do? What can we do?
We have a choice to move. You know, we have a choice to go elsewhere. I think that's
out
the
of
appeal.
country.
I think that there are people.
Not with
No,
the
I'm
ice
talking
wall.
about. Yeah, exactly. Got a nice dragon though. It'll take care of that. No, I think just in the virtual world, I'm not sure that there's anywhere in the world that you can go physically that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, and to the 2 generations ahead of us that maybe start to figure out space travel, you're not going to be able to travel away from this rock fast enough for them not to know where you're going at all times either. So you're just kind of always going to be watched. But if you can communicate and share information on a space that's completely decentralized and not owned by anybody, that at least takes a little bit of power back. So I think there are some freedom fighters that are really trying to push forward. There's people who just don't understand. Well, I don't think it's a good idea for them to be out of the shadows. There are heads of these crypto companies. They are very much adopting a model of people looking for VCs, like out in a lot of these guys are out in Silicon Valley as it is. So that's scary in and of itself, right? Like I'm not all that worried about hedonists taking drugs in Silicon Valley as long as they're trying to pull away some power from the suits.
They're going to come up with
in Upper East Side Manhattan, $77 million mansions. I'm okay with the guys eating acid out in San Francisco. We'll figure that out together. They're one dose away from it just all making sense. So but they understand that they see the power that their companies are amassing, right? Like all of these brilliant coders, they understand that the simulation is becoming more and more sentient, right? They understand that as we can break things down more and more into code, the closer we are to just that being that key that just turns the machine completely on. And maybe it's a reboot. Maybe it just resets after that. Maybe it all ends. I don't know. What happens after the code figures itself out? What happens after the equation figures itself out?
I don't know, because when talking, and it's funny the way Bitcoin started. It's by like a shadow figure, isn't it? Isn't that the whole thing behind Bitcoin? Like there's really no.
Yeah, that's the idea behind most
something.
Cryptos. I shouldn't say all cryptos, because there are definitely cryptos when you dig into it, like the blockchain is absolutely leading to it's being owned by one person. But yeah, that's the idea. That's what makes Bitcoin first off, it's a first to market kind of thing. It is finite. There's only so much of it to be mined.
Yeah, but there's so many cryptocurrencies.
There are.
Okay. So to get these people like Epstein and take away their power, do we do it by is cryptocurrency one of the ways? Because right now these people are all super wealthy. They can all do whatever they want. They can buy islands. They can buy planes. They can buy people. They can get people to shut up. They can buy killers. They can buy whatever they can buy whatever they need with this paper money or these digital transactions, right? Everything's like, oh, look, Craig, you got $150,000 in your bank account if you murder Steve on the radio right now.
Can I give you a message? Can I give you Carolyn Goida.
Oh, our girl
says trying to investigate and expose child sex trafficking is very dangerous business. No doubt.
Oh, great. Is that what we're doing right now?
No doubt. I'm just telling the stories.
God, I don't know.
I'm just telling the
That's
stories.
the one with the problem. I don't know.
That's why I always cite the website I get it from. Like, hey, this is what this person says. I'm just reading it out loud.
This is all off of,
no
the top
doubt.
of Steve's head.
And this is Whitney Webb. If you guys are looking for somebody, it's Whitney Webb. She's on the Mint Press News. I mean, it was wild. But okay, so when cryptocurrency eventually takes over as the main currency, does that get rid of billionaires and people who can buy millions of stuff?
No, it doesn't, because
well, why not? If there's so many different cryptocurrencies, why can't like one place uses its own cryptocurrency and another tribe uses its own?
I mean, we do that now.
I know,
but it's only worth with the value that we place on it, right? Like it has
totally.
To be, it has to, like a lot of these have technology that's attached to it. Ripple makes like Bitcoin, like now that the Lightning Network's open, now it's a faster transaction. Ripple, the reason why it blew up overnight was because banks were going to start using it, which right there's a red flag. So there were people that were in, and they made a lot of money off of Ripple real quick. Ripple makes for lightning fast transactions, which is really what it's about, being able to move money across the world quicker and not tracked. I mean, and not every coin's like that. There's receipts for every transaction, but some coins like Monero, I mean, there's plenty of, I think Monero is actually the one that brought back Ben Swan. I could be wrong on that, but it's one of those that's like it's anything that threatens the fiat currency that the world is currently using. For instance, the US, most of our, I mean, they're acts of war, but most of our aggressions, they're certainly aggressions, are us placing sanctions on other countries. Right? Because our dollar is the standard. Our dollar is what everything its wealth is based upon. So as long as we can weaponize our money, anything that pulls away, China does it too. China manipulates their currency all the time. That's kind of the big tennis match there is between the U.S. and China and how they're jockeying debt back and forth. But being able to go to a decentralized currency altogether. Oh, it's Dash Coin. I'm sorry. Yes, Dash. I think Dash was kind of a very similar one in the fact that it's a quicker transaction. But you have these. If you have this decentralized currency,
Found that on Steemit.
Steemit is actually a crypto coin in and of itself. I would actually. That's something that it's very interesting. If we were to move our community over to Steemit, anybody that goes on to Steemit, you create content and your likes are your currency in there. Which right now, guys, that sounded stupid a year ago until we told you about the fact that in the Great Hack they have your data is the number one commodity. So if you go over to some place that is decentralized and all of a sudden all of your like and your behavior patterns are moved into this decentralized space, you're actually getting paid directly for what you're liking. You're getting paid for your data. It's an actual one-to-one exchange versus somebody else being paid, you being completely oblivious to it and you being targeted with things that you want to actually spend your currency on. It's weird. Like
That's huge.
Yes, for
Being
sure.
paid to have things mine your data almost like it's gold on you, and you should be able to get that because you're the one doing the freaking mining,
if
man.
you can acknowledge the fact that your data is being mined all the time, why not get a piece of the value that is your data?
Holy.
So if we can move people into a forum like that and make them understand that yes, you are still a commodity. No matter where you're at, you're a commodity. But now things are really going to be tailored to you. It's not going to be a system that's, and not to mention on the blockchain like that, you're not like peppered with random advertising and all of that jazz. You know what I mean? Like you get to basically decide what you want to consume. It's interesting, man. It's interesting.
It's been blowing me away. All of the things. And then you start to think like, what we got?
Mark says you're all going to be suicided.
Oh no, double suicided. I knew it. Who's Mark? Oh, give me a last name on that so I know who to tell. My FBI agent is saying I'm gonna get suicided. Craig's
Mark.
Mark is in the building.
Mark's in the building.
I know it's crazy to think about, man. And like, we got kids, me and you, so it's crazy. It fires me up even more. Like, you had a pretty interesting story. I don't know if you want to put it on blast on here, probably not. From your Facebook Live this morning. If you're not watching Craig's Facebook Lives about the fixer.
Oh, what did you pull today? Should we get into that? No, it's a little early on that yet.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Does it tie into what he's talking about?
Okay. Not really.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and do it? And then we can talk about the rest of the Facebook Live.
Sure.
Yeah. In-game purchases will be required for social currency.
In-game purchases are already required for kids to have any kind of a good time with anything. They give you just a taste of. It's like when you would play that arcade game, and it would just like you had to keep pumping a quarter in it, continue, like you were climbing the thing. You couldn't give up now, but they found a way to put that in your living room. And make it as easy as being attached to your credit card. Like there's no tangible even change of money. It's just a press of a button now. We watched that Black Mirror episode. I think it was season 2 where they have to ride bikes to create electricity, and that builds currency for them, and they're all given quarters to live in, but it's constantly playing ads. Like they're everywhere around them is a screen. It's constantly playing ads, and you can spend your money to skip the ads and just get back to what you were doing. But eventually kind of the price of things go up, and you can't pedal a bike fast enough, and only a few people make it out of the rat race and become the celebrities. Buddy, that's why Black Mirror weirds me out so much. It doesn't even weird me out so much as I'm almost grateful for it, because I feel like, man, they got a tight read on just the worst thing that can happen. We can actually work towards avoiding this if we're just kind of cognizant of what the worst case scenario is. You know what I mean? In so many different ways. We can talk about the greatness that is AI and the things that can become.
Because that's what I do want to talk about, like, talking about all this horrible stuff. And please read the stuff on Mint Press News and all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. I mean, it's insane. But we can build a better future. And I think it's going to take a similar process as to what these evil entities are doing, because I'll bring up the family again. They're like, the mafia does it the best. They're quiet about everything. You don't know what's going on. You kind of know who's in charge, but he's never really touching anything. There's guys behind the scenes. Like, the more secret your organization is, the better. And it's like, okay, if you're doing nefarious things, and if you start to put together these think tanks of good people, because, is it true, the whole like Illuminati versus the church back in the day? Like, the Illuminati were the good guys trying to keep science.
Well, I think that's what Dan Brown wrote. In a
I know. Is
fiction book,
is there any truth to that? Because that's kind of a neat thing. The church saying, oh no, we got to keep these ideals. And
I think that
it was
probably very likely.
It seems very basic now to us. Like, oh, one guy was fighting to say that, hey, the earth rotates around the sun, and we're all learning together, and there's science, and we got to be able to think this logically. And other people are like, well, no, we got to keep this construct going for the people, otherwise they might not toe the line as well. And so you kind of had these even sides, to where now it seems chaotic with all the stuff going on, because the technology is just so rapidly advancing and changing the game for everyone. And our kids, I don't even think, them growing up with all of this just on them now, like you're talking about with the phones becoming a part of us. Like, when will it just become a part of us? And we talk about augmented reality, and it's like, when will, I can play Pokemon Go or whatever, and it's a little bit of augmented reality, and there are some other things, but when will it be, okay, the lenses or the neural net or whatever? And then what is reality then? Who's in charge of that? Can that be hacked? Obviously.
What is reality now?
No doubt.
Totally.
No doubt
this is
about
interesting. Somebody said Idiocracy came out in 2006 and was just silly. Watch it now, and it's scary. Actually, what's scary? Read 1984 and then look when he wrote it. What was that, 1965 or something like that?
I mean, he was looking into the future, into a dystopian future that was 1984.
Telescreens.
And what's crazy is, dude, is as long as people have said that, like, we can't do this because it's going to turn into, like, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah? Well, they've got 5,000 points of your data, and they know exactly who you're going to vote for. And you think that you chose to vote for Hillary Clinton?
What a beautiful
You think that you chose to vote for Donald Trump?
As far as manipulators go, oh my God, is that like, mwah, like they're pulling all the right strings to get people to kind of do it. I think the key is, you got to check yourself. You got to stay in the moment as much as you can, and kind of, am I being manipulated by this? Am I being, and I think the call to, like, get back to nature. Like, we got that camping thing coming up, hopefully, when we figure out a date for it, getting together with your tribe, getting in settings like that, putting your feet in the earth, talking about that really matters, and figuring out how to challenge each other to become better people, to spread that ripple. Cause that's another thing they talk about in that movie, getting to world leaders. And then the world leaders, if you get to 2 or 3 world leaders, boom, you got a whole populace of people. Let me control Justin Trudeau. Is that his name? Like, if I could control that guy, the prime minister of Canada, like this
the Canadian prime minister,
charismatic guy who's like, and even his mom's got weird ties to all this global elite thing going on.
100%. He is definitely Fidel Castro's kid, his bastard child.
That's amazing.
100%.
Broke it here on
we did. If you guys didn't get that, but
no, and I mean, we've had so many viewers this whole time. Thank you guys so much for
air
for talking about this stuff.
We got somebody on the phones. I have no idea who this is,
theorist.
but this is Lil Fart Jr.
Let's hear him.
Oh, nope.
Did we lose Lil Fart Jr.?
What are you doing?
Is this coming from the phone?
We got cut off. I don't know what I just witnessed, but I do believe it was Fidel Castro's his seduction march.
Hold on. Did someone call in as Lil Fart and then just put their phone to a radio of that music playing?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know
what happens when something happens that none of us planned. We're
That's
like,
okay.
That's exactly what the ruling elite wants us. They want to distract us because right now we were on topic, and they know all I got to do is like do something weird. Steve will be gone.
It was kind of hypnotic. The music.
I appreciated it.
Hey, should we do a little cannabis news, or you want to talk about our weekend? Because Craig and I saw some pretty amazing live music this weekend. I don't know if we want to get off the Epstein.
Why don't
stuff.
we start on the weekend on the other side of the break? Because we got
Okay.
quite a lot to break down. Not
All right,
only
cool.
did we have the concert, but you had something pretty cool. I do want to let you guys know that this entire presentation is brought to you by Bell Chiropractic and Pain Management.
They're the best.
Bell
man.
Chiro STL. You need your back adjusted. You probably do. You got to get right. Even if you're exercising, you got to get your frame in line. Otherwise, you're going to start throwing little wonks everywhere. Okay, guys, go out there. Most importantly, if you have not gotten your medical cannabis recommendation yet, they will take care of you, and you don't even have to leave your house. You can do a televisit with them. They will see if your condition applies, and write your recommendation for you to send off to the state. BellChiroSTL.com.
Hey, and I want to throw out there that Blake Bell been with us for so long, man.
Such a great friend, and
just an awesome dude. That's what I'm getting at. I think people, if you have a question about anything, like regarding anything that might be with Bell Chiro or anything with even the medicinal marijuana movement, like the guy's been there since the beginning.
one of the first ones to sign Amendment 2.
Yeah, and he's willing to answer questions and tell you about. I mean, he still has the Momed Canco. We might be changing sponsors. That's something we can talk about too. We're always going to lead in the right direction,
Totally.
guys. But there's plenty of space for all of us. One of our friends texted us the other night, and he's like, "We all eat, or no one eats." Which I was like, a lot of people are going to starve to death. Okay, buddy. But hey, that's what happens. That's what happened. But they're sending ships to Venezuela. Okay. But no, ask Blake any questions. Like that's how we want to keep it.
He has
like,
been terrific.
We're going to hook you up with a network.
He's always
of
been
awesome
looking
people.
for. And if you're a veteran and you're looking for a group of friends, of someone to reach out to, people that are just going to events, and people that understand the camaraderie that might be missing from being
No doubt.
overseas or being in a unit with somebody, get in touch with Blake. Get in touch with Project 422. Project422.org. They've been doing great stuff for veterans. I mean, one of the things that changed your life and decided that you were really going to get.
Yeah,
I want to say you were already into cannabis. You already understood
I loved it.
the healing aspect of cannabis.
Yeah.
But
No, it drove.
you went
it
to weed. You
home.
went to Weed University out in Colorado.
And I got to see and know and feel other people and empathize with them and really realize, oh God, my stuff's not too bad. I'll never forget somebody going up there and being like, hey, I sleep about 1 to 2 hours a night, barely. If I get more, I'm waking up in between. Is there anything you can help me out with? And I'm like, what's the highest THC weed in here, man? And then to see like the next day, he was like, oh, I slept 4 hours, and he was so happy. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. So yeah, that solidified the whole movement for me and seeing it happen in real time. Because before that, I was just watching on YouTube, and guess what, Craig? Can't even do that anymore.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Follow us on the MyCeelo Media YouTube page.
Seth, you got something for us?
I think actually you got something for us.
Well, I have no idea what it
Technically.
is.
Yeah. So before we go to break, we're gonna get our. You had a great rant this morning, and the
I'm
whole
all
thing.
fired up, man.
There were so many sections we could have chose from. So I listened to it, I think 16 times.
There's no way it was a half hour long. You got
I did
nothing
like
done
your
today.
shirt you were wearing. Remember that bright?
Yeah, I
yellow-
actually changed it right before I came because I didn't want to look like a fishing lure.
Yeah, it's in
You
his
did.
car.
You did. You
Chartreuse.
looked like you're about to go cycling or something, or fishing lure. Yeah. So here is your weekly edition of Craig Moments.
This is the safest a person in a fucking skin suit has ever been on this planet, period. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you are constantly monitored. We talked about data points. We talked about how they're farming shit. People are taking pictures to make themselves look a fucking 100 years older. Turns out the Russians are just farming your photos. You want to know why? Probably because they got like a deep fake farm. What they got. I don't fucking know. There's weird shit going on, man. We just got to be fucking willing to entertain that, like, these people, while they may say it's for the greater good, while they may say it's easier to control the masses and move us forward, like, is that what we want to be? Is that what we want to be? Are we just living in an ant farm? Is that the fucking deal? You. I'm irritated. I'm angry. Oh, cool shirt. Where'd you plug it in? There's Seth. We were having a nice little conversation. Here comes Seth. Where'd you plug the shirt in, bro? You.
That was this week's edition of Craig Moments.
And I think we're looking for sponsors for Craig's early morning.
Who would
Facebook
put their
Lives.
name to that other than
So-
James Carlton State Farm? CarltonInsurance.net, 314-961-4800. He's going to tell you, look,
He's
what are
the
we?
guy
Are we
that
just living in an
insures
ant
the
farm?
car you're driving while you're on your phone.
It's true.
Yeah.
God, you're
Never
perfect.
thought-
sponsor.
you never
I never
put that
thought about
together.
that.
We never put that together, did you?
It's in a dock. It's in a gimbal dock.
Yeah,
It just follows me around. Yeah, it rotates with me. Oh man, there's a lot of nefarious things going on right now. What scares me a little bit, Steve, talking about our kids coming up in it. I think that there's a younger generation they're learning how to play within this playground. But what I'm afraid of is they don't know what it is, because that world is so vibrant and full of color. Being in the Fortnite world or just their digital world or YouTube, where they're just constantly being just a barrage of laughs and just yelling, just tone deaf yelling. Like that's what I feel like is going on in the background of my house at all times.
Yeah.
I don't care that you watch YouTube. Just watch something great on YouTube. Don't watch some ding-a-ling that's just
Yeah, I know.
like it's just
Trying-
nonstop.
I was trying to tell Oliver that, but okay. I was thinking about that.
Nonstop.
I was thinking about that. I'll grab another Craig moment. I was thinking about that the other day. What if you teach them like teamwork and aspects on Facebook? Because they got so many different modes where they're teaming up with like 5 to 10 other probably middle-aged men. Now that I think about it, oh no, oh no,
You just opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, but I had to have that talk with Oliver before he got online. Like, don't be giving people our address.
One of ours
okay?
got grounded for 2 weeks because that's the rule. You don't get to talk to internet strangers.
Yeah, don't talk to internet.
Stop
strangers.
that. Play the game.
But I was thinking, like, with your friends on there, like, come up with a strategy. You can use that for some
No
good
doubt.
stuff, because I don't know if you're a parent right now, and I'm like, I'm guilty. I let my kids have too much electronics, but I have heard a few parents who are like, my kids get zero electronics. They don't get any of that. Like none. I'm keeping away from.
I think you need to find a middle ground there.
Yeah, because I feel like, oh man, they're gonna get left behind. But are they gonna get left behind, or are they gonna be able to survive?
I don't know, man.
When
Teach
this
your
whole
kids to
S
code.
storm goes up in flames.
Teach your kids to code. I've gotten away from it. I bought Landon a board game a couple of years ago for his birthday. It's called like Code
What a
Master.
dork.
And it's a board game that actually makes you understand how code is written, like by the way you move across the board. And it's like a flip book. So it's like multiple different boards, and you have to figure out what you have to connect, different like run commands, things like that. So you have to map out on a pad what the command is so that your player can move through the board and you have written a successful line of code. It's a great way to teach kids. Like Ivan and Oliver right now, all of our kids should be playing it regularly, just so that it becomes the equivalent of Candyland, but now they're understanding how code connects.
Yeah.
Because our kids need to learn how to code.
Just wait till my AI baby comes out and he's like, I know how to code immediately out of the womb.
I get it. I'm looking forward to your
I don't
AI
need real
baby.
children.
What is your AI
This is
baby's name?
This is
Al.
that's a board
It's
game.
actually an
Craig?
I. Yeah.
You said that's a board game.
It is,
And
yeah.
For ages on the box, what's it say?
Like
the crazy thing.
Garaputo.
5 to 99.
When I was
But when you're
8,
100,
I
you're
was-
out.
I was
If
playing.
you haven't learned to code by then,
They kill you.
kick rocks.
I was playing Mousetrap when I was 8.
Oh, that's a
Fair
great
enough.
game.
That
That'll
mouse
teach you.
trap- Oh, that was a
I never
frustrating
played
game.
it. I just set up the trap and let that baby run. That's all you gotta do.
That's
Let that
what it's
baby
all
run.
about. You gotta set
That's the only way I could finish.
All right.
Guys, let's jump to break. On the other side, let's break down what happened in Hoosier Land over the weekend. Had a lot of fun stuff that happened. We'll wrap it up with some streaming picks. You guys are welcome to call in to 314-880-0808 and play some more Turkish music for us if you would like.
That was amazing.
It was really good.
It didn't get flagged.
There's people not
Nobody
that I
owns
know
the
of. I haven't
rights to
gotten an
whatever
email
that
yet,
was.
so we're all good. It might get flagged in a couple of days, but anyway, guys, stick around. On the other side of the break, we're going to have a little bit more fun. This is Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU 920am.com.
Did you get all your weed paperwork filled out yet?
Oh, buddy, I'm a radio guy. That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, a lot of our friends in the cannabis industry have been working hard.
What do you say we throw them a party and celebrate?
Let's do it. Where at? Truman's? Truman's in Soulard. We're going to have a party on August 19th.
That's a Monday.
That's indeed a Monday, and we're going to go live from Truman's in Soulard. Mondays are for the Hoosiers.
Man, this paperwork.
James.
Insurance 314-961-4800. Handsome, amazing, astonishing, astounding, fabulous, incredible, fantastical, phenomenal, prodigious, stupendous, unbelievable, wondrous, divine, fantastical. No, seriously, he's fantastical. You got a house, go on and get it insured. You got a car, you gotta get it insured. You got a life, go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net. Fantastic, stupendous, fantastic. Lifetime. Yeah. It lasts a lifetime. Come on. It lasts a lifetime. Yeah. And just go Google it. I wanna let those shingles down, girl, for you. I wanna let those shingles down, boy, for you. I'm gonna do some siding, get you excited. James Hardy siding. Google it.
For a lifetime. You know I make your neighbors cry. Boo, cause we tell all the leaks go bye. And you know we all do the side.
Guys, Lifetime Roofing. They're the best roofers in the game, best customer service. LifetimeSTL.com. Google them.
Spiders are found on nearly every continent on the earth. Bugs and arachnids, and insects and other little critters are vital to the Earth's homeostasis, keeping our planet in balance and making all of our lives better. They are vital, beautiful little creatures. Unless you come in my house, and then I'm calling Rose Extermination. Rose Extermination!
Yanks come home. After a hard-fought battle in the Aleutian Islands, and after saving the homes, ideals, and values of free people from Axis domination, our boys and girls are coming home after kicking Hitler's butt. Oh boy. On the home front, Bell Chiropractic and Pain Management has been helping our boys and girls with back pain, primary care, and medical marijuana physician certification. The devil's lettuce. Visit Bell Chiro STL for more details.
Hey girl, where you wanna go? I don't care, I just love you. Are you hungry? Do you wanna get something to eat? I don't care, I'm kinda hungry. Well, what sounds good? Anything sounds good, you pick. How about some Mexican? No, I had that for lunch yesterday. How about we get some Italian food? Ew. Okay, now you're not saying anything and just giving me a look. Something delicious. What does that even mean? I want to sit outside. Applebee's? Applebee's? No, Applebee's. I'm not eating good. Applebee's. I don't know why Applebee's fries are disgusting. They're gross. To go I'm not eating Applebee's. I want to go to Truman. Let's go to Truman. Soulard, go to Truman. I want to go to Truman. And Soulard, take me to Truman. We agree on Truman. I love Truman, I love Truman, Soulard.
Truman's and Soulard, a place we can all agree upon.
When we installed internet access on our computer, I got the whole family involved. It was a lot of work, but it was really worth it.
That's right, Dad. Now the whole family can stream WGNU live by visiting WGNU920am.com.
We installed the internet on our computer just a short time ago, and I haven't been able to get the kids off it ever since.
That's right. Isn't the internet neat? You can also listen to past shows and featured interviews on our homepage.
No wonder you guys are always so busy on the computer.
WGNU920am.com. Point, click, and listen live.
It's really cool.
I think it's time for you to have your lysergic acid. Drink this down, and we'll be back after a while and see how you're doing.
Welcome back, St. Louis. Let's get your mind right with Craig Kohler and Stephen Elgin. This is Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU.
It's here. Can't you feel it? Everything is in color, and I can feel the air. I can see it. I can see all the molecules. Can't you see it? See it? See it? See it? See
it? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hoosier Sophisticate. Here on WGNU 920 AM. Put a .com behind it. You can stream us anywhere in the world. We stream live on Facebook at Hoosier Sophisticate and on YouTube at Mycelial Media. Go and subscribe to the Mycelial Media page. I'm trying to move you all there. It's all going to be baby steps, guys.
Little baby steps. We're going to do a little baby step for little guy J-Rob. Can we get a little guy?
But yeah, baby steps. We'll take you along for this ride, this journey. Come on, tribe. Let's get on board. We're like the Plains Indians. We're building teepees. We're moving. The buffalo is our next great adventure.
Yes.
Wherever they go, we go. And guess what, bud? We use every part of the Tatanka. We use every part of the Tatanka.
Yes, sir.
We're not scared. We love you guys. Thanks for following along.
Yeah.
This is just,
Couple
we're
of goofballs.
more.
Speaking of following along, our group is so great, man. We've had a lot of events. We've had a lot of events, over the summer that people have showed up to in droves, and this community continues to. I mean, our numbers just exponentially growing. It's just a constant, nice little, and so far, just everybody added has been really quality, and we're having these little awesome moments. We had a washer tournament a couple weeks ago. We raised a fair amount of money, guys, a really fair amount of money, especially. The turnout was down a little bit. We didn't account for the fact that, it's kind of people getting their last second vacations in before the kids go back to school. We'll probably push it back into September again next year. But with the turnout that we had, we almost raised the same amount of money that we raised last year.
The Hoosiers that were in attendance. Oh my God. Just
my people.
I just go up to them and I just be like, oh.
And I'll tell you what, you
whisper in there.
And I'll tell you what, you had a tall order ahead of you, and I left you hanging. I feel really bad for it.
I do.
You decided to the following weekend, after we've had so many people come out and donate their money and their time to the wash tournament, you were involved in a big metropolitan area wide fundraiser for the animals.
It was awesome.
And I mean, there were a ton of shelters. I think they raised cumulatively $300,000.
Was it 300?
$300,000 between all of the animal shelters that were involved.
I did
but you did a little lock in. You did a little lock in.
Yes, I did, baby.
At the Open Door Animal Sanctuary.
Yes, I did. It's out in House Springs.
Yeah, and buddy, like I was glad to come visit. I felt bad. I didn't even want to leave you. Actually, matter of fact, after we left was when you came clean on the NHL 94. I felt a little betrayed. I would have just, balled my shirt up and used it as a little pillow if we could have got some NHL 94.
I had a queen mattress. You're all right. I brought the little bottle of Patron because
just in case
I thought there was going to be a little chihuahua there and we could have a moment where it's like, hey, we're drinking Patron with this little chihuahua.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's funny. I ended up just drinking a bunch of it because they're like, yeah, they're like, listen, you're going to sleep in a kennel. Whatever you got to do to get Mama and Dad to sleep, you do what you got to do. Okay?
Who was the dog you slept with? Did you sleep with Marshmallow?
We slept with me and a guy shared a dog, Maverick.
I liked Maverick.
He is stout as it
Maverick
gets.
was a stud.
Mavericks awesome. He's a little cuddle bud too. I'm like, oh cool. Don't pop this air mattress.
So let's
pop this air mattress, Maverick.
So let's tell them a little bit about that. You were locked in there. They had it's really an impressive place with people doing great stuff. And there were so many animals, and our kids were just in heaven.
I'll break it down for you. Lifetime Roofing also helped me out. Big shout out to Lifetime Roofing. Roof. They helped me out. They said they'd sponsor me a little bit. So Rufus was definitely part of the crew out there. But I went there at 2:00, and I don't know anybody. I'm doing this by myself. I don't know what's going on. I know one guy, Patrick, who works up there, and I'm like, hey, but where you at? You know what I mean? I don't really care. I'm not the guy who like shows up somewhere new, and I'm like, I don't know anyone. What am I gonna do? I'm like, hey, I'm here to sleep in a kennel, and kind of give them a sexual look, like,
yeah.
I
call that
my
Tuesday,
deal.
baby. Yeah, I call that Tuesday.
And they're like, oh, you sure you're gonna be able to handle it? And be like, I'm already wearing a collar and a Kong. I have a Kong in my mouth, and I'm like, I can handle it.
A Kong?
Well, you can call it that.
A nib.
I think I call it a Kong. And so I get up there, and Carrie Warren Pavlovich.
I think it's vice versa, but yeah.
Pavlovich Warren.
Yeah.
We did it's a whole inside joke we had around the fire. Whatever. But she's a great spirit, great energy. It was funny.
Great member of the group.
Oh yeah, totally. Because she's like, I'm a member of this guy's group. And granted, it's all dog and cat people. We all know dog and cat people. I'm not the guy who like comes up to my dog and I'm like, oh,
That's actually how you talk to our fans, though.
I can't do it. Hey, shut that dog up! I'm trying to do a radio show.
That is a dog, yes.
Who did that?
That's an example of.
Hey, can we go back to line one real quick?
We still got Indianapolis, Indiana on line one.
Can we go back to line one real quick?
No kidding. This is on 314-880-0808.
Are you sure we're not on hold?
You didn't try to call anybody.
Are you up? Yeah, I don't. All right, cool. We'll pot him down.
That's a real thing. That is not Mark playing a prank. We have a caller on the line.
That's a caller just playing music.
We have a caller on the line from Indianapolis, Indiana, who is just sharing with us the hottest Turkish hits of 2019.
All right, baby.
It's just the same song.
I'd love to go to Turkey or like Morocco. It'd be so sweet. All right, so instead I'm at Open Door Animal Sanctuary. So I got my sleeping. I got an air mattress. And we're supposed to be sleeping in the kennels with the cats. I kind of maneuvered my way out of it because I knew somebody. So I got to sleep in an air-conditioned spot with just one dog. And I'm like,
when you showed me where you were sleeping, I laughed audibly. You were living high on the hog.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I mean, I was
not
in
bad.
close quarters with my buddy Pat. How about Pat? We're both a little tipsy at the end of the night. NHL 94 will do that to you.
Sure.
So he loses his vape and he's like, oh, man, I don't even need that thing. I don't need it. This is a good thing. And I can tell, it's like when you lose your six at the end of the night, you're like, I just want one before I go to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And Pat is the most even-keeled guy.
No doubt.
And he's like, all right. And he's like, he goes outside and he's like, I'll just look for it one more time. But it's like an expletive instead. I'm like, is he out there screaming about that thing? I was in the morning. I'm like, hey, did you find that? He's like, yeah, I was right out in plain sight. It was, I just missed it. And I'm like, all right, cool, fair enough. So I get there. They set us up. It was really cool. They took us on a tour around there. You can volunteer, I think, at 13
with an adult,
16.
Correct.
Without. It's a great place to do service hours. They need people to walk
Our
the dogs.
14-year-old is chomping at the bit. I
Oh,
didn't
they
realize
were
how
so
close
good.
it was to our house.
Yeah, 10 minutes away.
It's right down the road.
Yeah, it's a great little area. They have all these little outdoor areas they take you by where they can let the dogs run.
Cool trails and stuff up in.
Totally.
Yeah,
And
really.
I
neat.
wish they could expand up there and stuff like that because it's amazing. Like it would be great to just let those dogs roam up there, different groupings,
doubt.
different packs. So then it's weird because I'm not a cat guy. I told you I'm not a cat guy, not really a dog guy. I've known really cool cats and I fell in love with one dog in my life and I'm like messed up from it. I don't want to get into it on this episode. But to be in the cat area with like the little kitties, there's 70 little kittens in here or something. I forget how many. Oh, I snuck one in my book bag.
Damn,
We
man,
are getting one though.
Those little kittens.
We are getting
Tara
one.
Sanko
I know, it was
Elgin.
just very no. We're gonna name it something different. I'm not naming it
Tara
Tara.
Sanko
Get out of here. That's
Elgin.
stupid. But the kitty area is like, oh, it's vibrant. It's great. Some lady slept in there. I'm like, that's hilarious. She was covered in kittens at one point. Like you couldn't even see her. I mean, she had skinned them and made a coat out of them, which was weird. She was in there for like a real Cruella DeVille vibe coming from her. No, but she had all the kitties on her at one point. And then you go in the other room, which you and your fam spent most of the time in making those boxes. You guys put together a nice little portion of Kitty City.
Kitty City.
Kitty City.
Kitty City.
Greg and his son made a cardboard menagerie of ins and outs and alleyways and tubes and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
You want to talk about me being just a shadow of my former self? I got home.
Yeah, I do.
My cats were there. Like clearly they know that I've been messing around. I've got the smell of kitty all over me. And they're like Cicely is like extra loving. She's like coming like headbutting my chin. She's like, what's the deal? You know? And then I have this moment, and then I'm talking to little Paris because he's like a maniac and he runs all over everything. And I'm like, oh man, I built complete stranger cats. A nice little thing. I've never built you anything, man. I gotta get some cardboard box and give you a little playground. You know what, buddy? It's not even gonna be cardboard. I'm gonna build you a jungle gym that goes around this entire living room. And then like I like kind of snap out of it, and I'm like, who are you talking to? You're gonna just the day around the sweetest little animals and people with hearts that are like, because you know that they take in sick animals. They have to put them in quarantine for a while. They got to make sure that they're not,
they have a feral cat area where they try to, make feral cats.
Yeah, a lot of ocelots.
Adoptable?
Yeah, like a lot of ocelots that are just
Savannah cats.
Yeah, a lot of
Savannah cats,
I
bobcats.
saw links.
Saw a few lynxes out there.
They're just so braggadocious with their beards,
pompous. And then they shaved all of them. Remember?
Which was strange. It was a little strange, but only like that English hunter where they just shaved the chin, so it still had the mutton chops.
Oh, yeah, I like my lynx with mutton chops.
Anyway,
it was a great little night.
And our fans raised you what 500 something bucks, man.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
That's big.
Big. I was trying to get 1,000, so thanks.
Well, I told you if you'd have brought a Chuck-a-Luck wheel, you'd have done it. You'd have got all the donations that everybody else got. You'd have got those. You would have donated all of the money there.
There was a big white Great Pyrenees. If you've never seen a Great Pyrenees,
old marshmallow.
They're unreal. I was gonna sleep with him, and then I saw how much hair came in like a
he looks like a cloud.
A nanosecond. I had so many hair particles in my mouth. They weren't dog hair. Do dogs have pubes?
Yes. I think all of it is.
Oh no. I definitely had dog pubes in my mouth. Clip that off. But it was a cool experience. I feel more connected now. I did a weird thing where I went into the dog area, and how we're always talking about holding space, and I don't think I'm the best space holder for real. I mean, I can, but it has to be the right person. I don't think I could take groups and be like, okay, I'm connected with all your energy. I think like, a person I'm close with, I think we go out there, have a really good time, hold some space. We talk about in the psychedelic aspect a lot of times. I tried to go into the dog pen and hold a little space for these dogs.
I did the same thing, buddy.
Isn't that a crazy little deal that you can kind of calm yourself, kind of calms the energy of the animals around you? You feel more calm.
Because it's pandemonium when 4 kids walk in, 5 kids walk in, 3 adults. These dogs are all pining for attention. Yeah. Who's got the bigger bark? They're going crazy. And I would do that, man. I would go to each one and I would just talk to him and be like, oh, well, hey, Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah.
Just, what's up, baby? Just relax. And then he would be like, and I was like, oh, that's kind of powerful. You move on to the next one. The next one doesn't shut up. You're like, listen, I'm doing the thing with my eyes. Bojangles gets it. Talk to your pal.
I know you had one dog later that night was like reading Timothy Leary and lighting Naga Champa.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. I'm like, Craig got to this guy.
Got to him quick.
Bojangles over here, dude. Bojangles. They wanted me to get into a cage with him because he's a notorious humper. They're like, yeah, get in the cage with him.
Seemed like a good fit,
but he didn't hump me, so I don't know. Is there something wrong with me?
He didn't smell good.
What's the deal? I presented myself to him over and over.
You got any cannabis?
He just wouldn't take the bait. You guys want to get into the cannabis news? Hey, Mark, do we have that awesome stinger for cannabis news?
Hey, Hoosiers, are you ready for some cannabis news? Are we talking about weed? Whoa.
What's going on in cannabis news there, Steve-O?
We are talking about weed. This is from RX Leaf. Finding the CB3 receptor could be the medical breakthrough of human history.
All of it?
Scientists think they've found a new cannabinoid receptor, one that could crack open a new smorgasbord of healing possibilities. It's like nothing we've seen before. New research suggests that cannabis may affect the human body in new and unprecedented ways. Before we get there, a little backstory. After the U.S. government finally allowed scientists to research the possible medical uses of cannabis, whole dimensions of human biochemistry that had previously existed in the shadows suddenly shifted into focus. The 1990s ushered in the discovery of the endocannabinoid system. Please remember that word. A vital and important component of the central nervous system that plays a role in everything from cognitive processes and pain sensation to appetite regulation and physical activity. It was the discovery of the decade. In a phenomenally narrow window, science has gained a deeper understanding of how the body manages and regulates itself. In the years since this Pandora's box has been opened, the gifts keep pouring out. Because the endocannabinoid system reaches so many domains of the human experience, it is tremendously fertile ground for research. Fertile. It's like when the Europeans discovered America. All of a sudden, there's a new rich world to explore. The molecule in question goes by the name GPR55, but may soon be known as CB3. CB4 was a great movie. The molecule.
I was waiting for you to set me up for that. You can feel me watching. I have nothing left to contribute to the show the rest of the night.
See you later, Seth.
That was going to be my golden moment. I was going to walk off stage on a high note.
On CB4, that's not good.
Great
enough.
movie, by
The
the way. Chris Rock was
molecule
amazing.
itself was first discovered in 1999 in various parts of the brain, the hippocampus, cerebellum, thalamus, etc. But newer research has discovered that it also hides out in more remote parts of the body, such as the spleen, gastrointestinal tract, and adrenal glands. It's also present in cancer cells. So what's the big deal with it? If this molecule is indeed a cannabinoid receptor, that means the current understanding of the endocannabinoid system is vastly incomplete. This molecule is distinctly different from CB1 and CB2, which share a lot of similar characteristics. By contrast, GPR55 shares less than 15% of its amino acid identity with either. That means that it's possible that this molecule, which is all over your brain and throughout several other vital parts of your body, is operating in a new and different way than we thought possible. It would be like discovering that nerves in your toes don't respond to touch in the same way your fingertips do. Instead of physical objects, they can sense, say, magnetic fields. The potential here is gigantic. It could explain why CBD oil has such a diverse range of health benefits, many of which are proven through trials but poorly understood. We're getting personal.
He had no reaction to that.
Greg was freaking out. He's getting over his head. He's in over his head.
You're on a live radio show.
This is an emergency.
I'll tell you what. When I get off the radio here in about a half hour, 45 minutes, I will call you back and I will tell you all about that. Love you.
We miss you.
Bye.
Your
Literally
sister's great.
no.
That's my sister.
No
She's great.
reaction to what you say. Like, you're on the live radio. Yeah, I got a
Yeah, she's like just mows right through it. She's
Yeah.
not listening to me.
I could sense that you're like, oh no, is
I don't
she
know where
saying
this is. I don't
something
know where this
now?
is going. I need to
Yeah,
pull this
yeah.
phone away real quick.
Oh, that's fun.
That was my my lovely sister Jacqueline.
Man, you really
Anons.
flirt with danger when you hold up the phone. If one
Oh,
of my siblings called, there's no way.
Yeah.
That's
She's a pure
illegal.
soul. She's a pure soul.
Isn't
She's
that
a pure
illegal
soul.
to put someone on the radio?
He told her.
I absolutely so.
Yeah.
We're on the radio right now.
That's true, but
Thank you.
that's
Thank
why you can't do prank calls.
It's
and
okay.
stuff,
I will
right?
call her back and we
You-
will have a good laugh over this.
I'd hate to ruin everybody's life that likes Howard Stern, but they get consent for all those prank calls.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. After the fact, they obviously have to get
That's
consent.
oh man.
Or do you think they're
that's
setting
such a
them
great
up?
segment? Richard Christie and Sal
Oh.
Gamarani. Oh, the prank calls,
Dude,
Some of them are
that
stupid.
stuff. It's so
there's a
juvenile
few
and great.
gems in there if you
Yeah.
go digging. Anyway, heck, Craig.
Hi. So we were talking about the healing benefits
Yes,
of cannabis and just
Until your sister rudely
how
interrupted.
silly it is
Yeah,
that we're
God.
that there's people throwing roadblocks up when we know that we're not exactly sure. We have some ideas about how it's supplementing, hitting the CB1 and CB2 receptors and how maybe that is affecting people with cancer. And now we're speculating that they've maybe found a CB3 receptor. It probably doesn't stop at CB3. Like the more and more we dive into this, we're going to find the way that it lights up different receptors throughout our endogenous system.
I would love Missouri to be the the home front of the rogue lab of the, oh no, we're not getting our stuff from the University of Mississippi. Like we're not getting
I
our
would just like that.
We're not
I'd like
getting
that
it.
project to be over with.
We're growing good. We grow great bud here in Missouri. Wasn't that famous John Hunt quote? Like we grow good. Missourians grow
good
great
dope.
bud. Yes. Sorry to ruin that. But okay, so let's grow all this great stuff. A challenge to all the people here in Missouri. We know a lot of these people, these I call them weed nerds. And I know one of them, I was like, hey, you're kind of a weed nerd. And he's like, well, not actually. But, and then we got into edibles and he was talking about all these certain aspects of what CBA turns into. And I'm like, see? And it's like, oh, I don't even realize
They don't
that.
even
You're just
realize
so
how
passionate.
knowledgeable they are about
Yes,
it.
man.
Well, and not to mention, we have a couple of the universities right here in St. Louis that are pioneers in it. I mean, the CB1 was found at SLU, right? Like we have very.
Did they find it with the crap stuff? Is that what they have to use there?
I just
That's for testing. I mean, that's insane to me. That's where that's insane. So how awesome would it be to have rogue labs set up? Is that even a possibility, or a lab such a highly funded
that
thing?
equipment is so incredibly expensive.
Meth cookers do it.
Thank you.
That's
And
true.
we're getting there.
many rogue. All their labs are rogue. Actually.
You buying a lot of meth with labels
Oh my
on
God. Did I just say we want rogue labs in Missouri? And you could clip that off and put Steve loves meth at the bottom of that.
Clearly
Like a
talking
video.
about clearly talking about crank.
CB4.
Yeah,
No,
again.
I would love to see
That's
well,
my
the
streaming
purple,
pick.
the purple device.
Yeah.
It's we're starting to get a little bit closer to this infrared spectrometer can read how much THC content is in here
The
and how much
cannabinoids in it, the cannabinoid breakdown
like
based
that.
on infrared spectrometry. Like it's just based on a picture. It's not based on any kind of extraction from it. Your medicine is still completely usable and unaffected.
How do we do that? How do we make Missouri the Mecca? Like challenge the people to go out there.
I
and
think
figure
that is going. I think that understanding the plants is becoming pretty prevalent. I think no matter where you go, we've got we're getting more and more empirical data on the different flowers and the different strains, and there's always the challenge that our buddy Josh Loftus told us about. Like you could have a strain, but there's 8 different phenotypes that can present themselves. You don't really know what you're getting based on a seed or based on a grafting, or not grafting, probably not the right word, cloning.
Yeah.
But I mean, mixing, 2 different strains together. There's so many different variables. I think we're getting more and more empirical data on the plant itself. The challenge is, and the real breakthrough research in the medical field is, how is this different stuff affecting are these different strains affecting the brain? How are they affecting different systems within our body? Those are the things that are hard to get any decent studies on because we're using lawn clippings from Ole Miss.
That's what we need to do here in Missouri.
So, like,
figure out the terpenes, baby.
I mean, as far as like us getting more data on the plants, I don't think that's necessary. I think we have a ton of data on the plants. We have an exponentially better product to be testing in the medical field for us to be floundering about with this trash over here. And it's all because of all because of scheduling. It needs to be descheduled completely. Forget moving it down the scheduling. That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It needs to be removed completely.
The Schedule 1 drug list is absurd.
Yeah.
It's mushrooms, acid, maybe MDMA and marijuana. Are they all on there? MDMA, heroin's on there. But I'm like, what?
I don't think heroin is.
No,
I don't think heroin is or
I think it's
cocaine
like a
because
Schedule
they're
II,
both
actually.
Schedule 2 because they have medicinal benefits, which is an outright lie in and of itself. Like we talked about how the opium cartel goes back to the British occupation of China. It goes way back. It goes back hundreds of years. And they've
Heroin
always
is
kind of
on
been
there.
Is it okay?
And peyote. Throw peyote on there.
Yeah, why not? Which is
Oh
which is
my
interesting.
God.
Which is interesting because there is an actual religion based around peyote, and they can both possess and consume at will. Guys, we're up against a break. We're up against it.
That quick? That was quick.
I know.
Little minute.
We're rolling through here. Hey, real quick, Mark. Can we go back to the Trumans and Soulard phone lines? Line 1, see if Indianapolis is still hanging out.
You gotta be kidding me.
Leave it there.
And I go to Truman's and I have a good time. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Truman's and Soulard. All right, we'll bring that back down.
That was terrible.
I don't want to get
racist
on YouTube or Facebook.
Last week we got trolled by white supremacists. This week it's Turkish music.
Which, by the way, white supremacists, if you're following along on YouTube, I love when you talk. It's really, I've always been into puzzles and always trying to understand your grammar is as hard as any cipher that's been put out there.
Calls us.
It's been, yeah, just as hard as any cipher that I've ever had to solve. A real tough crossword puzzle.
Craig, you don't want to get into a game of wits with those people.
Yeah, I don't know that I could hold my own with you or your sister wife. Anyway, let's jump to break, guys. On the other side, we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap this up a little bit. We'll come at you with some streaming picks. We'll have a little bit of fun. This is Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU. Stick around to the other side of the break.
It's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
It's quiet down.
It's the best.
It's quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get.
Whoa, Kippy, you can't.
Well, I was just going to say get in trouble.
Okay, well, it sounded like you were going to say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Spiders are found on nearly every continent on the earth. Bugs and arachnids, and insects and other little critters are vital to the earth's homeostasis, keeping our planet in balance and making all of our lives better. They are vital, beautiful little creatures. Unless you come in my house, and then I'm calling Rose Extermination.
Rose Extermination! Hey, Craig.
Hey, Steve.
Did you get all your weed paperwork filled out yet?
Oh, buddy, I'm a radio guy. That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, a lot of our friends in the cannabis industry have been working hard.
What do you say we throw them a party and celebrate?
Let's do it. Where at?
Truman's?
Truman's in Sula.
Truman!
We're going to have a party on August 19th.
That's a Monday.
That's indeed a Monday, and we're going to go live from Truman's and Soulard.
Mondays are for the Hoosiers.
Man, this paperwork.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
It lasts a lifetime.
Come on.
It lasts a lifetime.
Yeah. And just go Google it. I wanna lay those shingles down, girl, for you. I wanna lay those shingles down, boy, for you. I'm gonna do some siding, get you excited. James Hardy siding. Google it.
Real back for a lifetime. You know I make your neighbors cry. Boo, hoo. Cause we tell all the leaks go by. And you know we all do the side.
James Hardy, boy, yeah.
Guys, Lifetime Roofing. They're the best roofers in the game, best customer service. LifetimeSTL.com. Google them.
Yanks come home. After a hard-fought battle in the Aleutian Islands, and after saving the homes, ideals, and values of free people from Axis domination, our boys and girls are coming home after kicking Hitler's butt. Oh boy. On the home front, Bell Chiropractic and Pain Management has been helping our boys and girls with back pain, primary care, and medical marijuana physician certification. The Devil's Lettuce. Visit Bell Chiro STL for more details.
Roof? You know what that sound is. That's Rufus the Roofing Dog from Lifetime Roofing and Renovation. They're former insurance adjusters. They will fly a drone over your house to check to see if you've had any hail damage. Heck, they'll get up there and tell you themselves. They have an office in Webster Groves, and they're looking to help you out. Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, 314-800-0426. Give them a call. Find them online at lifetimestl.com.
The turned-on people who seem to set many of today's lifestyles are not the only ones smoking grass, popping bennies, shooting speed, or dropping acid. If they were, the problem would be somewhat less tragic.
It's that Hoosier Sophisticate Radio, baby. Presented by Mycelio Media. Streaming live on WGNU920am.com and Mycelio Media on YouTube. Check it out.
In this kind of dosage, it causes a fantastic speeding up of the mind function so that the person suddenly feels a rush of tremendous numbers of ideas flashing through his mind, and as a matter of fact, with hallucinogenic type overtones. There tends to be a distortion of time. And of course, the person is confused. Person is confused.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Hoosier Sophisticate.
Welcome back.
Here on WGNU 920 AM.
Stephen Craig. This is Hoosier Sophisticate.
There's our guy. God, we miss him
We
so
miss him
much.
so much.
Craig was so anxious to talk to everybody.
It's okay. I saw that we were on air. I wanted to bring us back. We had a long break.
It's 8:40.
We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something fun. We got to do something. We're gonna do something really fun. Listen, all of us, I'd like to think, music plays a very big part in our spiritual well-being. I think that can be said for most people. There's that odd duck every now and then that's like, I don't really listen to any music, and they scare me to death.
World's Greatest Dads, the son is like just this tyrant, and he's like, music's for the F word, you know? And I was like, oh my God, this guy hates music. I'm like, because Robin Williams is trying to listen to music in the car.
You just pity him.
His kid is the worst kid in the world, dude. Great movie, World's Greatest Dad. We're going to get into streaming picks, though. Go ahead. Tell them about our event.
Well, about our event, I will do that next Monday, guys. For the first time ever, Hoosier Sophisticate is going to do a live remote. That's right. Our show next Monday is going to be live from Truman's Place in Soulard. We would love it if you guys came out from 7 to 9. We're gonna come up with. We're gonna do what we do. We're gonna talk about the crazy stuff. We're gonna try and play maybe a game or two that's going to involve the fans. We'll come up with a cool prize to give away. It's the F paperwork party for everybody that's in the cannabis industry. You maybe you've been following along. A lot of paperwork. It's really been a high stress time. A lot of high stress going on because people are trying to get all of their paperwork buttoned up and submit their applications to become business owners in the cannabis industry. Not going to be as easy as becoming a patient. A little bit tougher. Not quite as many. Was it 192 licenses, I believe, are being granted. So it's a very competitive game. People have had experts advising their teams, putting together their little dream team, their little cannabis dream team, and trying to have the paperwork match up. It's all going to be in by them. We want them to come out and blow off some steam. It'll be a great opportunity for you to network with people. You're trying to figure out, hey, maybe I can find a job in this industry. Well, our goal is to maybe have some of these people that have put in applications so that you can start making the relationships, the friendships with these people so that you can find yourself and carve yourself out a nice little place. Truman's in Soulard, 7 to 9 next Monday. Come out. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, we're going to have a good old time. And your birthday's right around the corner.
It is.
And we might have a little something cooking up possibly for Craig's little birthday party.
Oh, no.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Me neither, but I'll tease it. I'll tease it
something
a little
in the
bit.
Hey,
I got something in the works.
if you're nervous, multiply it by 100.
Okay.
You don't look nearly as nervous as you should be.
Okay, well, I'm pretty comfortable.
I'm
in my skin
apologizing in
wherever I'm
advance.
at.
It's going to be too funny for for us
fair
to
enough.
not do it.
I'm actually spending my birthday in Springfield with people who love me at a cannabis event down there.
BS.
Yeah, I'm going down
No
to
one loves
Let's
you.
go to Springfield. They got a Red Lobster. Show me Canada. They do have a Red Lobster.
I probably got like
cheddar
10.
biscuits.
We got the best. We got the best Red Lobster.
It's really good. So it's a test market for restaurants, and I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Listen, at Riyadh though, next Wednesday, I will be down there because our buddies at Show Me Canna have a party, a coming out party down in Springfield. Kind of get to know the people down there.
Sweet.
Our Springfield listeners, we got quite a few of them.
Yeah, we do.
Come out to Riyadh next Wednesday. I believe it's like 6 to 9. Riyadh, yeah. Really nice
like
little
that.
restaurant downtown. Really good stuff. And that's where they held the watch party in Springfield during the
sexual.
during the vote. It sounds Saudi Arabian, actually.
Riyadh.
But anyway, so I'll be there next
Again,
Wednesday. Guys, Seth,
sexual.
you kind of came up with a pretty cool idea. We talked
Saudi
about,
Arabians, the most sexual people on earth. Am I right?
well, I did see that the going back to Jeffrey
They're
Epstein.
like Argentinians.
Going back to
with their
Jeffrey Epstein,
sexuality.
I did see that he had a pretty good relationship.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what?
with
I will just leave that be. The Crown Prince.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Ben
music
Al.
is essential to all of our lives, our
is.
spiritual
Oh, yeah.
well-being.
It
Seth, you had a
is.
phenomenal idea, and it's something that our fans can play along with at home.
Heck
We're
yeah.
going to, and maybe we'll make this kind of a regular happenstance. We're each going to recommend an album to each other. All of us are going to listen to each respective album. Now, we should put it out there. This is a front to back listen? We're
Front
listening
to
to
back
a whole
listen.
track
Gotta
one
go
to
whole
track-
way.
Okay, so
Yes.
each one of us has 3 full albums to listen to. If you guys want to do it at home, we'll keep a list out there. If you guys want to listen to these albums, and obviously they've all
Play along.
touched us in special ways. As most things do. Let's get started. Who should we start this thing off with?
I will. I'll go
yeah,
ahead
go
and start it out.
Cool.
I got I started to flip through my mind. I'm like, okay, these guys have probably heard a lot of stuff. What album did I think was really
I've heard
touching? And like we're talking about touching people. Like it touched me. This album touched me in 2004. And I know Craig's talked about them before, but I'm gonna go with Arcade Fire.
Very
And
good.
I think I didn't know. I was like, what
Which one?
album do I go with?
Suburbs or-
I'm gonna go Funeral.
Okay.
I don't think it's the one. What's going on back there, man?
Hey, sorry.
Jeez Louise, we're trying to have a radio show up here, man. Intern Scott back there killing it. But it's got Neighborhood 1, 2, 3, and 4. Crown of Love is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's got some French. It's got like a French song in there.
They are a French Canadian
It's
band.
a
aren't they?
weird. It's weird. I think you'd get in on their weirdness. Have you guys listened to Arcade Fire before?
Yes. A little bit.
I'm semi-familiar with the band. Yeah, I've heard them.
Okay, I think that's probably my favorite album of theirs, and it's 2004. I'm
great.
2 years out of CBC.
It's great. I remember a lot of my friends throughout the college years were getting into this band, and sometimes you have to be taught how to listen to them.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of waiting for that moment because too many of my friends, you actually mentioned something similar to this. Too many of my friends love this band for me to not get it.
Totally.
So I'm always looking for that moment that it clicks. It happened for me with the National, and now the National is one of my favorite bands. So I'm super looking forward to this. I actually have all of Arcade Fire's albums on my phone, so I'm going to dig into that one tonight. That sounds awesome. Steve's pick is Arcade Fire Funeral. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I just want to tell you, did you guys hear an Arcade Fire caused a widespread panic at the disco?
Nope.
Oh, I did not hear
Yes! That made up for the CB4 joke that was taken from
All right,
me.
Seth, you're up next.
All right. Okay. Well, I posted actually a single from this album earlier today on the page. It's Hum, H-U-M.
Okay.
I was going to go with Downward is Heavenward. It's my favorite album by them. But for some reason, I think you guys will click more with the album You'd Prefer an Astronaut.
You'd Prefer an Astronaut
by Hum, H-U-M, all
Hum.
caps.
Very
Band
good.
from Peoria, Illinois, got a 90s rock sound because they're a 90s rock band, of course. But it's more like they're kind of like a space rockish band. They use some effects, a little bit of psychedelicness, but mostly a 90s rock sound.
Okay.
Lyrically, very space rock. They're nerdy. When you see a picture of them, you're like, oh, that must be the chess club. They like video games. And then you listen to the album and they blow your face off and you're like, whoa.
Okay.
And like lyrically, it's like listening to a scientist like explain his thoughts on how planets work, but through a love song.
That.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah,
a lot.
I think you guys really like it. Hum.
Looking into it.
You prefer an astronaut.
Yeah, I think it came out in 92, 93, maybe.
Scotty Cooper, what's your pick, kiddo?
I'm going to go with my favorite band pretty much of all time for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm going with Queens of the Stone Age, and I'm going to say Lullabies to Paralyze.
Lullabies to Paralyze by Queens of the Stone Age.
That's my favorite album from.
Tell me the place that they are a very cool.
I love the way he
they're
sings.
Pure rock and roll, man.
I love his voice, his vocals, the way they play. They're just a solid band, dude.
Were you the guy putting their album art on the fan page the
Yes,
other day?
I was.
Because the guitar with like all the colors coming from that.
Feels like the feet looks like his feelings are coming out.
It's
out.
amazing.
Yes,
that was
feelings.
a super cool. Is that on their CD or something? Or
No,
what is
that's their concert posters. Every tour they go to, every stop, they have a different poster for every single stop they go
really?
to.
Well, that's pretty neat. Queens of the Stone Age, Lullabies. And
Give me the name of the album one more time.
Lullabies to Paralyze.
Lullabies to Paralyze.
Came out in 2005, I think.
Okay, 1 year away from Funeral, 2004. And Seth, you said yours was what year? Late 90s?
Without
Late
looking
90s?
it up, it's early 90s.
Early
I think
90s.
it's 93.
Old Nenzi on the comment line says, "I love Hum."
Really? And Nenzi's song?
Nenzi's great. The Beans and
Beans
Cheese.
song, Beans
super.
and Cheese. Did you guys listen to the Beans and Cheese song?
I want to.
It's amazing.
Their eyes are huge,
Dude.
right now.
It's got a very Deftones feel to it, and he even acknowledges that. And it's Beans and Cheese make his whole sneeze. So it's actually really great.
We're
It
looking
sounds
at each
awesome.
other through this
I
little
know,
slit
it's awesome.
in the arm of the his hanger.
Guys, I've been
That's
toiling
awesome.
here because I've got a few bands, but I'm just the only reason I'm apprehensive here is because maybe I've already had Steve listen to it. This is an album I'm going to try and reach obscure for a lot of the fans. But I put it in my top 5 because of when I heard it. It's Phosphorescent Muchacho.
Oh,
it's one of
yeah,
my
baby.
absolute favorite albums of all time.
yeah.
So much so that it has become not just a safe place for when I decide to journey and whatnot, a little grounding. But also it's been a bit of a soundtrack to my relationship with Miss. Like it's been a very prevalent part of our relationship. And I want you to listen to it and think of a guy, think of a lonesome cowboy who is journeying through the desert, right? And he's just kind of trying to figure out what it is for him to be a man, what it is for him to be a lover. Phosphorescent Muchacho. It's got some really
Listen, bud,
angelic sounds.
I don't need you to tell me anything about lonesome cowboys in the desert being sexual.
You get it. You get it. Phosphorescent Muchacho. The album. It's a staple.
When did that come out?
I'm gonna say 2012ish, 11 maybe. 12. Somewhere
Okay, cool.
in there. So right on. That's a great. You guys at home, play along. Tell us what you think of the albums.
We like movies, so do we. We like internet, so do you. It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week.
And Hulu too.
It's the streaming picks of the week.
We like the internet too. I watched The Family. I talked about it. Netflix, The Family. It talks about these religious Christian ties that run roots deep through Washington and all throughout the world, how there's just these men's club and they just follow Jesus. And the craziest thing I learned about it, it made me kind of look at Trump a little differently. They call him the Wolf King at the end of it. And what these guys do is they talk about Jesus. Jesus wasn't there for the sheep. You know what I mean? He wasn't a shepherd for the sheep. He was a shepherd who controlled the wolf. He controlled the wolf so the wolf would control the sheep. Okay. And that's what Jesus would tell you to do.
It's called delegating a task. We do that in the military all the time.
Well, there you go. And I mean, they have breed Great Pyrenees. That was a dog that used to hang out with the sheep and protect them when any coyotes or whatever animals came around. So The Family, it's an important watch. It's a mini series on a docu mini series on Netflix, and it is phenomenal. Once you get in it, you'll just be like, "What is going on?" A part of it, it's about this house in like Virginia where these guys hang out, these politicians, and they're just talking about Jesus. We're not really talking about politics. We're just here talking about Jesus, and it's influencing world leaders and all. It's crazy. It ties in with all the Epstein stuff when you really start thinking about it, how these behind the scenes characters are doing what they do. So it's called The Family on Netflix.
Right on. Seth, you watching anything?
I'm just really into sports right now. There's just not much on.
What are you watching sports-wise? Catch us up.
We got late season Cardinals and preseason football.
What are the
going
Cardinals
on.
doing?
They just swept the Pirates. Woo!
Got a big comeback win there from.
I think they're
from a
2
young
games
kid.
back from
Bless you.
first, and they got an easy schedule according to the Z-Man. I haven't looked at
The
it.
Z-Man.
We talked to the Z-Man before he left, but
We
and it's still on that Ink Master tip, baby.
Right on. Scotty Coops, you watching anything, buddy?
Not really, not too much, but I did watch.
Hold on, Scotty.
That's right up Seth's alley.
Yeah,
This is Menzie.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'd listen to.
I don't know.
Hey, was there a
Yeah.
was there a word in there?
No, there was. I don't think you can understand it.
There wasn't a word in
Yeah,
there.
it has to be
That's
clear and
Menzie.
concise.
So that's our buddy Nenzi, the only Changing Station Hall of Famer. Scott, would you
All
like
right,
to
Scott,
tell us what
sorry,
you've been watching, buddy?
Okay, I didn't really watch too much TV this week, but I did stream your pick last week. I think it was it the Avett Brothers? May It Happen?
Yeah. May it last.
May It Last.
Mhm.
I was blown away. I didn't know too much about them, but when I watched it, my whole week, I just sat outside with a fire and went through almost all their albums.
Their catalog?
Yes, almost all.
Welcome aboard, my man.
But then Saturday, I saw that the show Glow came out with their third season.
I feel like I gotta get on this show. There's something appealing about it. I have not watched any of it.
I'm a big fan of Mark Maron.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
I think he's hilarious, and he's just, if you ever seen a show Maron on IFC,
Yeah,
he's almost the same character in that on Glow.
Okay, right on. Let's check it out. That's on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Right on. I watched a documentary, and then I got a very timely phone call, and that's why I'm going to talk about this documentary. And I think it's a good way to wrap it all up. There's a documentary on Netflix. It came out in 2017. It's called Heal, and it's stories from spiritual leaders, physicians, and those with chronic illnesses. They reveal the powerful connection between the human psyche and physical health. It's on Netflix. It's called Heal. I mean, it's got, if you've seen The Secret, if you've seen a lot of the, a lot of, I would call them luminaries, visionaries, people like Dr. Michael Beckwith, Joe Dispenza, who's amazing. Joe Dispenza's story is incredible in that he was basically half paralyzed, and through the power of the mind, he kind of focused all of his healing thoughts, and he truly believed that he was going to change himself for the better by focusing on the different way that his vertebrae and his back were. Unbelievable story. Check out Joe Dispenza, but check out the Heal documentary. They talk to plenty of scientists, physicians, and about how they do these studies with drugs, with these trials with drugs, and then they'll have a placebo trial. And a lot of times they might have 75 out of 100 people that show improvement on a pharmaceutical trial. And then a lot of times they'll have 75 out of 100 people that will show the same kind of improvement with a placebo just because they thought they were getting the medicine they need. It talks about the way that our mindset affects our healing, and that our body has always healed itself since the beginning of time. Drugs aren't necessarily doing the healing. Drugs might be providing some kind of tools to help your body maybe connect some receptors that kickstart the healing, but your body does the healing, right? It was a really powerful documentary. And it's,
is it woo woo or is it like
it's
clinical?
not like, well, I mean, it's woo woo in the idea that like that's something that would be scoffed at by so many people in the community, but there are plenty of scientists and plenty of physicians that are weighing in on this and talking about the idea of the mindset, the healing mindset. It was really, and to hear them, these are all very highly educated people, PhDs, like these, they're not maniacs. You know what I mean? They're talking about things that they've seen work. Some of it may be, I don't know if anecdotal is the right word, but it's worked for them. They've seen it work in several different people. And I think if you watch it with an open mind, I think what do you have to lose? If you're faced with something that's terminal or something that you're suffering through, what do you have to lose by just changing the way you think about it and not accepting a life sentence of sorts? And I got a phone call the following morning after I'd watched it. A good buddy of mine, I've known him for 15 years, 20 years, talking to me. He's like, man, I just feel like I need to reach out to you. You went through this with your dad. He said, my dad's got stage 4 bone cancer. I want to talk to him about cannabis. We've been giving him CBD. And I was like, buddy, That's good. He needs to be taking CBD. But if your dad has stage 4 bone cancer, there's never been an easier time where he lives than to become a medical cannabis patient. He needs to go and get a recommendation. He needs to get the card. He needs to figure out a way to immaculately conceive some RSO, and he needs to really give it hell. You know, my buddy was reaching out twofold. He was looking for help, and this is something that is a testament to this group. You know, there are always people that are willing to point people in the right direction, to hold space, to have the conversation about the hard stuff, about healing, about what cannabis can do. Their success stories with cannabis, the Missouri Medical Cannabis Network. Those guys, there is a wealth of information over there. Go over there, and so now we've put ourselves in a position where we can connect people and really actually make a difference. My dad using cannabis when he was terminal. I wish that I was better educated. I really wish I was better educated. I recommended a couple of the Rick Simpson documentaries to him just so that his dad could get a very elementary understanding of what RSO or FECO oil can do for him, what it's done for other people. And so I'm honored, I guess, that a buddy would reach out to me, confide in me, not just because he knew that I at least had a little bit of perspective and I could be a listening ear to know what it's like to, you know, when your pop's drop that, or your pop's your hero. And, you know, and it's,
you don't want to talk about your dad being your hero on the radio.
Yeah,
Drop that.
Your dad's your hero. You know,
you're right.
and to see them going through something. I know.
heating up.
At least I caught it, right? At least I caught it. Let one slip. I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't very professional of me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So for him to reach out and for us to now know all of these people that can give him good information, that can give him great information.
Yeah.
Now I don't feel as helpless as maybe as I did a year ago when somebody told me that someone they love was terminal.
Yeah.
I listen to anything I can do, and I mean it. But now I'm like, hey, listen, there is so much I can do, and I'm happy to do that for you. But this person right here can help you even more. And so thank you for being that group. People can reach out to and help to. Check out Missouri Medical Cannabis Network. What about Rose Extermination? Is there anything going on in the Rose Extermination phone line still? Nope, they're gone. We lost Indianapolis.
We did?
We lost Indianapolis. Well, Rose Extermination, you know, Seth, he had a thing that happened. His little fishies died.
Oh, here he comes.
His little fishies died. We don't have a lot of time, so let's tell the story real
Stealing
quick.
my story from me. Okay, well, yeah, I sprayed down the furniture. I didn't have any kind of super big problem. I'm like, let's use this super toxic chemical. It'll get rid of some things. And I opened the windows and I sprayed it out and I left. You know, I came back later. And there's a big, huge detail I forgot. I overlooked something pretty important. It also exterminated $50 worth of fish. I came home and they were having an upside down floating competition.
Oh,
I'm
buddy,
like,
it was a
you're
backstroke?
kidding me. Yeah.
Did
So
you
sorry,
eat 'em?
fish.
So had you just
No,
called?
they were exposed to some kind of gnarly chemical, man.
Had you just called our sponsors, Rose Extermination, they could have come out.
Don't do it yourself, guys.
Don't do it yourself, guys.
You learn. You live and learn.
Listen, guys, it's been a.
Hey, you were talking about healing.
Real quick.
You're talking about healing, and this group, man, like the
Heals
healing.
me.
I can't remember a time when I woke up as happy as I've awakened. You know, every morning feels like a new day, a new experience, a new little challenge, a new little triumph. I'm so happy right now. Like my family, you know, right now, kids are back in school. You know, everything's just fun, exciting. I'm learning how to look at the world as a land of opportunity instead of getting the inner critic in my head is turning into an inner coach. And I want to thank the group for that
No doubt.
because they're a huge part of what we do. And it's just amazing to have all you people out there supporting us. And I love you guys so much, man.
Guys, we want to thank our sponsors one last time. Bell Chiropractic and Pain Management. If you need your recommendation for medical cannabis, you need to give them a call. If you need an adjustment, if you need laser hair removal, if you need tattoo removal, if you need your testosterone boost, you need to call Bell Chiropractic and Pain Management. All right. James Carlton made the entire first hour possible. He's the best insurance agent in the game. He's sufficiently covered me up. Everything's covered. My family, my house, my car. James Carlton makes it possible. Lifetime Roofing. Roof. Guys, they do roofs. They do exterior. They donate to all of our just fundraising efforts. They're as good as they come in the game. Go Google them. Truman's and Soulard next Monday. 7 to 9. Come out and party with us. Let's do a live show. We'll play some games, have a good time. They have unbelievable food, terrific service, and Rose Extermination will come out and make sure those pests stop pestering you. Guys, thank you so much for humoring us. Fight the man. Make sure that you're educating yourself. Come to Hoosier Sophisticate every Monday. Tell us how great we are. We never get tired of that. You guys are brilliant. You make us better, and we appreciate everything that is about you. Thank you, Scotty Cooper. Thank you, Seth Gabriel. Thank you. Mondays are for the Hoosiers. Thank you, Stephen Elgin.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
you at
Mark.
Truman's.
And we will see you at
Oh,
Truman's
yeah.
next Monday, 7 to 9. We love you. Be well.
In USA News for Your Health, a lawsuit filed in Atlanta against the owners of the Sheraton Hotel after a man gets sick coming down with Legionnaire's disease. One woman